etc., or just will go for metros, but they were not having understanding that metros are really, really expensive. But then suddenly something changed. Ahmedabad is one of the city in western part of India. It's the capital of Gujarat state. They constructed their BRT with a different approach. So what was that? So in 2009, they launched their BRT system known as Janmarg, and it was really, really of great quality. It also received a lot of national awards and also internationally known award of Sustainable Transportation Award in 2009. And after that, many cities felt that, oh, BRT is not something like that which we saw in Pune and Delhi, but it's more than that. It's like Janmarg. It's like what we are seeing in Gujarat. So after that, many cities changed their overall approach and completely redesigned their own systems. And many cities started operationalizing their BRT corridors with different designs. So I will go into details of one of it, which is Rainbow BRT. Is in Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad. Pune is a city nearby Mumbai, and it's an important city in Maharashtra. It has got a lot of IT hub. And Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad are two cities which makes a bigger region of Pune metropolitan region, but it has same bus operator. So when it started to have a different kind of BRT and good BRT in the city, it started with how to resolve bus operations issue. So the question was whether we should go for open system, which was there for Pune's pilot project, which actually failed and people criticized it, or should we have closed system like Bogota? Like Bogota has this closed system where there is trunk and feeder system. Even Ahmedabad initially had this kind of system, or whether to have something different which will give kind of flexibility and people will also accept and appreciate it. So city decided that it will have hybrid system because city has lot of pockets where a lot of people and a lot of demand for bus transport is there, but actual BRT corridor cannot reach up to those areas. So city decided to go with hybrid BRT system where some of the routes can exit the corridor and serve the areas which are adjoining the corridors. So those areas will not have segregated BRT system, but at least for 3-4 kilometers, those people will get direct services. So there will be less number of transfers. So that acceptance by people will be more because there are existing bus systems and you need to integrate that with new BRT system. So city decided to go with hybrid BRT system. ITDP did a lot of study in how they can go for hybrid, what's the best thing to go for hybrid, etc. So a lot of surveys were done, right from boarding, alighting surveys, studying ticketing information, their actual fact sheets or monthly fact sheets, frequency occupancy surveys, transfer surveys. These all were put into modeling, and with the help of modeling, service plan was prepared, and what is the fleet requirement, what's the best infrastructure design will be for the system. Everything was worked out. So we did frequency occupancy surveys to find out what's the existing ridership and what's the actual frequency on these corridors, which are the potential corridors and where they should focus for operationalizing. Carried out passenger transfer surveys. So just to check if BRT is an opportunity to reduce the passenger transfer survey so that more people will start using it, people from other modes will also switch to this system. Also complete e-ticketing data, electronic ticketing data, what was for 5 days was analyzed, like what is the pattern, like how people are traveling on various times on the day, what are the peak hour factors, etc. Everything was analyzed to great extent. And finally, we found that even with the existing public transport bus operations, there is a great opportunity to integrate that with BRT if they rationalize the services, and so that without BRT they will of course need more buses, but with BRT and having rationalized services and hybrid BRT, of course with the less number of buses they can serve more people, because the BRT will give the opportunity because of the dedicated corridors to have more number of trips in a day, which will eventually result into less number of fleet. So that was the logic, and then city and all the authorities accepted it, and they said that yes, we'll go with the hybrid BRT system and we'll have new infrastructure designs like Ahmedabad. Also, waiting time analysis was done, like whether this BRT will have will reduce the overall travel time or not, like, or if it's going to reduce, what will be the frequencies. So basically what we found that with the BRT and after rationalization, there will be more number of routes which will be having good headways, and there are so many existing routes which are having really poor headways, and people were waiting for 1.5 hours or so. Those routes will be curtailed or will be applied in a different manner or will be integrated with the BRT to have better frequencies. So there will be less number of routes which will have poor frequency. So this map shows that the orange corridors are BRT corridors, and the circles which you are seeing are the extension areas where buses can go outside the areas and serve it. So finally, PCMC, the Pimpri-Chinchwad, which is one of the city in that region, so they chose this corridor to operationalize first, and you can see the segregated part of it, and the extension services can be seen as the routes which are going to different areas in the overall region. Of course, the corridor extensions plan are under progress, but this was the 14-kilometer corridor was the first corridor to launch. So they procured buses so that they can suit to this kind of operations. So the bus procurement was done in a manner that the buses having both side doors were procured. The idea was, so this is a conceptual sketch of how they are operating. So pink portion shows the dedicated corridor, and the Y wing left side wing shows the non-BRT corridor. So the buses can take passengers from the right side door on the BRT corridor, then can go outside the corridor and serve the people on the curbside regular bus stops. So people don't need to make transfers every time when they switch from BRT to non-BRT. So this was greatly appreciated by most of the citizens, and today also they really appreciate that the system doesn't require to make so many transfers, and vice versa. No, this bus can go in the BRT corridor and can take BRT passengers. So the idea was to reduce number of transfers and get more acceptance. In the earlier pilot BRT design, the same thing happened. Just because this consensus was not there, the old rickety buses were used inside the corridor without any service planning or without any rationalization, and people got the poor service. So finally, for the entire region, the BRT service plan was made, which completely marks the BRT services and regular services which are acting as a feeder, and all these BRT services are hybrid BRT. Similar is the case with the regular services. So there will be a regular complementary services, but of course it was made very clear that if a corridor has BRT, only it will be used for the BRT buses, and other buses will not ply parallelly to it, so that passengers will not have any kind of confusion whether to stop on the BRT bus station or outside the corridor for other types of buses. And most of the corridors chosen for BRTs have really good ridership and are potential BRT corridors. So out of which the 4 corridors have been launched by today, and there are plans to expand it further. So this is last year's data that with the BRT, ridership can be increased to great extent. Even today there is great demand for buses on these corridors. So I'll quickly go through the various Indian BRTs with the new approach, and we can see how they look like. So first of all, most of the cities decided the organizational structure of their BRT. Earlier, there was no clarity about who will run the buses or whether it's the same company using the BRT corridor or there will be a new company. So Ahmedabad decided to go for special purpose vehicle known as Janmarg. They named it Janmarg, and they decided that Janmarg will operate BRT buses and the existing bus operator AMTS will operate non-BRT buses. So this was a decision taken by city, but it was good that all the cities decided that there should be clarity in bus service plan. Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad were decided that PMPML should be the parent organization operating in the entire city, and Rainbow, which is the BRT cell, it will be part of that city, but they will have dedicated bus operations. Similarly, in Indore, AICTCL is operating public transport buses in the entire city, and IBUS was formed as a separate cell which operates and looks into only BRT. So we can see that from old approach to new approach, there was a lot of clarity was there. And with the mistakes, city learned that without clarity, this is project is going to fail. It's a good project. At least administration felt that it's a good project and we should really promote it. So they started thinking in a different manner. Cities decided to go for branding because without branding, it will be just seen as old bus system. So Pune Pimpri Chinchwad said that we will call our system as Rainbow BRT. Old Pune has old pilot BRT corridor, which was of great failure. So city also wanted to have distinction with that corridor. So they said that we'll go with the branding and we'll call our system as Rainbow BRT. They started using that name everywhere. Similarly, Indore used I bus. I stands for Indore and I for like giving you feeling that I'm traveling by bus. So every brand name also had kind of a story. Ahmedabad said that it will be Janmarg. Janmarg means people's way, so that people will feel that okay, this is something for us. Rajkot, another city in Gujarat, India, they said selected this name Rajmarg, and similarly Surat, another city, used the name Citylink. So basically, all the city decided to go with the branding to change the perception, to change the image of their public transport in the city. So these are some of the images of the BRT systems. So with this new approach, all the city decided that BRT means not just a bus lane, but it is a dedicated BRT lane which will be used only for BRT buses. So BRT buses can go outside the corridor, but other buses will not enter the BRT corridor. All the cities also had understanding with the traffic police, and they made resolution that people will not use, or if they use it, they will be penalized. So that enforcement was really taken care of. So this is the images of Pune's and Ahmedabad's BRT systems, which have dedicated BRT corridors. Most of these systems have central island stations, what do you call as median stations, which reduces the infrastructure cost, just because if you have two split stations as curbside, you will have more cost, and with the median station you can use the space efficiently. Also, when you have median island station, for the bus driver, it's really easy to dock the bus. We need to dock the bus, then in that case, station is on the same side of the bus driver. In case of curbside, bus driver cannot see the bus stop, and it's really difficult for him to dock the bus perfectly. So at level boarding can only happen in a really great manner if you have median stations. So most of these cities chose median stations. This is an image of Indore's system, which also has median station. So which gives really comfortable journey and boarding alighting facility to the passengers. And the gap between the bus and bus station is really less. So people with special needs can also use it conveniently. People with children, women, elderly can use the system really in a convenient manner. And because of this, stateless boarding saves almost 80% of the dwell time, and it eventually affects the total travel time of passengers. In earlier BRTs, all the bus stations were just open. There was no door, there was no enforcement, there was no any proper access point. People used to access from any point to the bus stop. Then they have, with this new approach, all the bus stations have automated doors which operates on RFID tags. When the bus comes, bus door recognizes it, and then bus station doors opens, which gives really safety. Cities decided to go with really environment friendly buses, and this is a case of Pune. Pune procured Euro 4 CNG buses and also having good passenger information system, so that passengers sitting inside the bus can know which is the next bus stop, and also stations will have information system which will tell you when the next bus is arriving. Some of the cities really decided to even give priority to the BRT at the intersection. So this is a case and picture of Pimpri Chinchwad's BRT, which gives priority to the BRT bus at the intersection, where a cut through is provided in the central island, and bus can go straight and it doesn't have to take a roundabout or square about, so to say here. The stations were made really comfortable. Those are clean, maintained. There are different service contracts for cleaning and maintaining all these bus stations. The station detailing was done in a really good manner, so that where the lights will come, where all fixtures are going to come, what is the passenger information design, where will the bus station name is there, bus station door name, where to put that, where how to put sitting arrangement, how many sitting arrangements should be there, use of tactile so that blind people can access the BRT buses comfortably. All these things were taken care while designing the BRT stations. All these buses are fit with GPS, and central control unit can monitor and track those buses. So there is central control unit established for all this system. Pune and Janmarg separately, and Indore also has their own control center, where dedicated staff sees where the buses are going, if there is any difficulty in the bus corridor, if the buses are getting delayed, if any bus driver is driving the bus in a really fast manner and it's at the passengers are at risk, and if they found if they find such issue, there is two-way communication available. With the help of it, they inform the driver, or driver can talk to the control center. So this system is really making good use of the technology, and it is really giving good really performing well just because of use of technology, and people are now appreciating it. So now, earlier the buses were used to stuck in mixed traffic, and because of this decision to go with as like maximum dedicated corridor, now buses don't stuck in mixed traffic, so that passengers are really appreciating it, and also people who are there in mixed traffic, they are realizing otherwise I'll get late just because I'm stuck in traffic and sitting in my own car. So better to use BRT. So this is really changing the image of the BRT in the city, in all the cities. Even some of the cities went ahead and they are planning overtaking lanes at the station. So they are planning for the future so that the system can take maximum load. So they have reserved the space for overtaking lanes at the station so that there can be express services, or the system capacity can be improved to great extent. Also, Hubli Dharwad, which is the upcoming BRT, maybe in next 2 years they will launch the system. They have also provided overtaking lanes. This is an image of IBIS Indore BRT, which has overtaking lanes at the BRT stations. All the bus stations have passenger information systems which tells you which is the next bus, after how much time the bus is going to arrive, it will dock at which station. Most of the systems have bilingual information system in local language and also English. Also, all the systems, for all the systems, enforcement efforts were taken by the authorities, and there are special wardens provided on all the corridors which take care of bus corridor enforcement. They don't allow other vehicles to enter the corridor. Also, there is this notification issued by traffic police which penalizes the defaulters. There are security guards for the stations which improves the security and also maintains the cleanliness inside the station. And all these cities really went ahead and they started thinking about the supporting infrastructure that is must for having good BRT. So they have provided good terminals which give you comfortable transfer. So this is case of Pimpri-Chinchwad BRT terminal, where BRT buses dock on one side and people just use the platform, go on another side, and the non-BRT buses stop on another side. So it's like using how we use railway platform. So people don't have to go outside that terminal area, and they are in the closed campus. So they are protected from environment. Cities have built really good depot infrastructures because without cleaning, maintenance facilities and workshops, regular checking of the buses, the system is going to fail. And they have really spent a lot of money in building all this in supporting infrastructure. The special passenger information design efforts have been taken in order to let people know what are the BRT routes, how the system works. So basically the fact is in India, most the awareness about the information and signage is really poor. You really will find less information on the urban areas about any of the urban infrastructure or public amenities. But BRT cities felt that BRT is an opportunity to start that dialogue and start that trend in the city. And all these systems have really good passenger information designs, which tells you where you are, how your corridors are, which are the stations on your corridor, how to use the corridor. And with this, people really accepted and appreciated the overall BRT system. And it helped the appreciation and acceptance by the people helped the system to expand really in a rapid manner. So Ahmedabad started with just 12 kilometers of BRT in 2009. With the great acceptance in 2013, by 3-4 years, they expanded to 67 kilometers, and now today they have almost 88 to 89 kilometers of BRT, which is plying on most of the important corridors in the city. And also in some cases, it's really plying on the narrow roads, let's say 18 meters wide road also. So basically people in Ahmedabad started going to the authorities and asking about when will you construct BRT in my neighborhood. So the infrastructure quality, the bus operations, the service level, it showed the really ray of hope to all the citizens that BRT is a good infrastructure and it will really help to resolve transportation issues in my city. Similarly, in Pune, Pimpri-Chinchwad also, in 2015, they have started 30 kilometers of BRT. Of course, because of the two cities and different jurisdiction, they couldn't launch the entire corridor at the same time. But there are plans to expand it and make the network complete. Even today, even if the network is not complete, just because the system has hybrid bus operations, BRT buses are flying outside the corridor, and that's why transfers are really less. But with the expanded BRT corridor infrastructure, most of the people will get direct BRT to BRT services. And not just that, city realized that with the new approach, it's really looking good. People are really appreciating it. If we provide high quality services, people will switch to BRT, and it can help reduce the congestion on the street and also will have good environment impact. So city has now decided to redesign their old pilot BRT corridor, so which is shown in the right side map in the green oval. So city, it was with the bad infrastructure and it really failed. But now with this new approach, and as you can see some of the photographs how the system looks, now the city has decided to go with the redesigning of this corridor also. If we go into details, most of these systems really provide really good frequencies. And as you can see, gives Rainbow in Pune, Pimpri Chinchwad gives the highest, which is kind of 40 buses per hour or so. Also, other systems are giving 15 buses or so, or even 30 buses or so. So most of the systems are also trying to improve their frequencies, and planned frequencies are also really of the good quality. If we check the daily ridership, yes, it is getting appreciated. In Rainbow, they have 30 kilometers and the ridership is really more than 150,000 passengers. Similarly, in Janmark, almost the ridership is 150,000 and with the 89 kilometers. Of course, because Janmark had some different kind of operations, the ridership is not that great today, but they have made their operations flexible recently, and so there are great hopes that this ridership number will suddenly go up and maybe get 3 times or so. Other systems also are showing good daily riderships. If we check the acceptance by the citizens, yes, people have shifted to BRT where they have BRT corridor access. So in case of Janmark, after 1.5 years, they found that 19% of people have switched to BRT from private vehicles. So switching from autos and share autos and vehicles to BRT, yes, it's a great achievement. Similarly, in case of Rainbow, in the initial month, is received immense response, and 8% of passengers, people shifted from two-wheelers, and some 1% or 0.5% from cars to the system. In Indore, found, and people shifted from BRT. Many people shifted from cars and two-wheelers to buses, and almost 24% of passengers from the motor vehicles to BRT. So if we see the current status of BRTs in India, many cities have operationalized their BRT systems, and some are upcoming or under constructions, and they will be launched soon. So Hubli Dharwad is in the Karnataka. They will launch systems are under construction in Amritsar and Ludhiana. Chennai has recently floated their tender for constructing BRT corridors. So the interesting thing is that Delhi started BRT with 5 kilometers. It was failed, so to say. The infrastructure was not of great quality. There were so many service issues. And then recent Delhi government, they decided to scrap the corridor in last year. But so it will be scrapped. It is already demolished. Pune is planning to redesign their BRT corridor. So the Pune thought that of course we need BRT, but we need better BRT. So better to redesign this existing corridor and make it really convenient and of the same quality as of Rainbow, which is the BRT with the new approach. So Delhi was scrapped, but recently they announced that it will be also redesigned and the city will have more and wide BRT network with the new and better infrastructure design. Pune has also decided to do same thing, and they will have uniformity in the BRT design, and old designs were modified to make really convenient. And Rainbow in Pune also plans for expansion, and also in their this year's budget they have made really great budgetary provisions to expand that BRT network further. So the thing is, cities are now realizing that you cannot increase the capacity of your road by increasing or by adding more road space, because if, let's say if we take an example of road with 6 lanes, you just get capacity of 3000 passengers per hour per directions. If you put elevated road, which was the earlier trend in most of the American cities or most of the international cities, which actually failed in their overall decision. So this is not the way to go, because with the elevated roads you can just increase it up to 5000. So 3000 can just go up to 5000, let's say 1.5 times increase. But the cost incurred is huge. But as against, if you just replace that one lane rather than giving it for the elevated rail, if you give it for the good BRT system, you can increase the capacity almost 4 to 5 times. So on the same road, without adding a new layer on top of it, if you want to move more people on the same road, better to go for the BRT. And now city has realizing it, and the administration budget of cities like Pune now focuses mainly on constructing more BRTs and footpaths, bicycle tracks. There are bicycle public sharing, and there is no priority for grade separators now onwards. So cities are really changing their mindset. Some of the Indian cities failed, but they learned from the experience and their own mistakes. And now, of course, now we can see future of BRT in India is really great. Now they have realized that metro is too expensive. So BRT is like build metro with the buses, and there are many more such metros are in pipeline. And of course, yes, BRT, future of BRT in India is really great. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranjali, for your presentation. I would like to appreciate your preparation and for your time. Now we have
Yeah.
time
Thanks.
for some questions. So, does someone have any question? You can raise your hand on the platform. Okay, if there is not, I think that's all. Thank you for your attendance, and we will see you on April BRT webinar. So goodbye.
I think there is one question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Oh, Graham Parkhurst. Um, okay, go Graham. Graham,
Hello.
you can
Hello?
ask now.
Do I have to type or can I speak?
You can speak.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for the presentation. I have visited Ahmedabad and Delhi systems. When I was in Ahmedabad, it seemed very successful, the priority, but there was very high use of traffic police at the junctions to maintain the system without people using the bus lanes with their cars. And I'm wondering if this is financially sustainable. It must be very expensive.
Yes. As you have seen, it's correct. So most of the intersections have manual priorities. So the idea was that if we have priorities at the intersections for BRT will have great system speed. But in order that cities were not having good IT infrastructure in order to provide that kind of priority. They went ahead with the manual priority. Yes, of course, it's very expensive in order to, I mean, in comparison with the technology. But now the Ahmedabad recently is trying to work out good signaling system which will prioritize BRT, and they are checking if there can be technology based BRT priority so that they can get rid of this manual priorities. And also the another reason was for the enforcement, so to say, because in other cities what was found was the enforcement were really poor. People were not listening to the uh, whatever the advertisements and the appeals made by the city, and they were still using the BRT corridor even if they are in the motor vehicle. So these traffic police also help to enforce the to for the corridor enforcement. Yes, but eventually, yes, they will be having technology based signal priority.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. uh,
Now
I
we
think
have,
there are some questions.
yes. Now we will go
Yeah.
with Asif Kais. Hello, Asif.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. Can you say a few words about the fare collection system, particularly
Yeah.
the transfers from the BRT to the regular buses?
Okay, sure. So in case of Janmark, they have automated fare collection systems which gives which has the card, but right now it is not integrated with the other modes of transport in the city. So this is the same problem in most of the Indian cities. So recently, central government has launched integrated fare collection system, so under which they give certain guidelines the way where cities can integrate their fare various fare systems. So today even Janmark doesn't have integrated fare system. So again, that's another technology issue. In case of Pune, they are still, I mean, it's just launched 6 months back, and they are still working out their electronic ticketing things and integrated fare collection system. So even for that, if one has to make transfer, he has to buy another ticket. There is no smart cards based system even in Pune. Same is the case with Indore. They give electronic paper tickets, but it is also not integrated with the other systems. So overall in India, it is this field is still what you can say has not matured yet, and cities are still fighting and trying to get these systems worked out.
Thank you, Pranjali and Asif.
Yeah, thanks.
Now we have Jamshid Langye. Hi, Jamshid.
Hello, do you have my voice?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I just typed my question. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm listening from Isfahan in Iran. We just launched our first BRT lane, and it works pretty good. And I was interested in your experience. Just one thing, I noticed the expansion pattern of the BRT lanes, and I saw that first you implemented the BRT lanes away from downtown or CBD, and then later the lanes came through the center of the city. Was that because of social resistance, or there were other reasons that you first started?
Yes, good questions. Yeah, it was because of social resistance. So in Ahmedabad, because there were failure cases from Pune and Delhi. So Pune initially tried going to the city center, and it was criticized. Of course, there were other reasons, but then Ahmedabad felt that if we just less social resistance, it may demonstrate really good BRT, and so that's why they started with going with the outskirts. In case of Rainbow, which is the Pune's recent systems, there are two cities, Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad. So Pimpri Chinchwad's corridor is not really outskirts, so it is the main corridor. It is arterial corridor of the city which connects the two regions. So it was kind of a bold step by the Pimpri Chinchwad Corporation, but they took it, and it worked out really in well manner. But in case of Pune, yes, they again did it at the kind of outskirts of the city, and now since people have accepted it, now it will be brought to the city center. But yes, that was I mean strategic decision. Yeah, does it answer your question? Hello?
Yeah, yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was quite enough. Thank you.
Yeah. So should I read some of the questions and answer those? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. So there are some questions which I can see on the panel. So should I read these
Yes,
questions
go
and
ahead.
answer?
Go ahead.
Huh? Okay. So Dominic asks that Janmark and Rainbow have the same ridership in spite of different corridor lengths. What's the reason of that? So basically, Rainbow has hybrid BRT systems, and Janmark went with closed system initially. So in case of Janmark Ahmedabad, the BRT buses were using the corridor, and parallelly AMTS buses were using the roads which are for motor vehicles and outside the corridor. So there is always the overall passenger ridership gets divided into these two systems. So now recently they have decided to merge these two systems, and they are allowing this AMTS, which are other city bus operations, to enter the corridor with the of course some of the specifications, so that the ridership will be increased and there will not be competition between two bus systems. So after that we hope that the ridership will really increase once they have now merged it. I think he has left. Yeah. So I will go to the next question. So Graham has asked, I have seen very high use of traffic police. Okay, yeah. So we have answered it. Yes, so George has asked, what's the regular passenger per kilometer index you have, and have you implemented intermodal infrastructure like park and ride or bike parking lots? So basically in India, no BRT system has implemented it in a really good manner. So none of the systems, Janmark or Rainbow or even iBus have implemented intermodal infrastructure. So so which is most 10 to 15 times the cost of regular ad grade BRTs, and also the access issues will be there. So everywhere for the station access you will have to provide elevators and escalators, and people will have to go up and down, or the detailing work has to be done in a really nice manner, then only it can function well. So elevated BRT is not a good idea, but at least they are thinking to have BRT is a good idea, and they should rethink about their elevated thing and just do the ad grade BRT on whatever corridors they have chosen so far. So next question is, hello, thank you for your presentation. Can you describe the governance of these systems? Is it a public agency that already existed that monitors the BRT, or a new agency was designed to monitor it? Yeah, so as I explained, in most of the cities, they sat together with the concerned government agencies and decided which type of system the city needs. And in case of Ahmedabad, they formed a special purpose vehicle to take care of BRT. In case of Pune, the same a separate unit BRT sale was formed under the existing bus operator company, which will take care of BRT, but they will have dedicated staff for BRT. Similarly, in Indore also they did the same. So in all the cities, the type varies slightly, but all cities have taken care of the monitoring and operational, like who is going to operate it or how the operations will really happen. I'll go to next question. Can you describe if the data from GPS and from automatic fare collections is delivered to the government, or if it remains with the private operator? If it goes to the government, do they use it for more complex processing, for example estimating alighting location based on smart card data? So yes, today they are sharing. So Central Control Center is under the Janmarg authority in case of Ahmedabad. In Pune also it is under the government agency only. So all these agencies are getting the data. Of course, they are also generating good reports which the senior management is reviewing. But right now it is not response based, so it is not that dynamic in nature. For example, today it's not like that if control center recognizes that many people are bunched up in a single station, so that to plan for a special bus or so. So right now it is not two-way or let's say response based, but they are using data after end of the day or end of the month to analyze which routes are working well and which routes are not working well. But they are making use of it. Next question is BRT profitable in India? Does the city government subsidizes BRT operations? So basically it's not about the profit just because it's a public transport, so it's not about making profits. Of course it should be sustainable, in a financially sustainable, that's another story. But if it's not, and even if it's performing well but not able to meet the financial sustainability, it's okay to go for subsidies. And all the systems are getting subsidies from the government. So local corporations are giving subsidies to this to these BRT companies or BRT operators. Next question is, with the AMTS buses using the Janmarg corridors, will there not be a problem with left door passenger entry at the island platforms? No. So the thing is, AMTS has procured new buses which has right side doors. So it is kind of hybrid operation. So they can use the corridor. They have the facilities which are required for median stations. So the conflict of like how passengers will get down or like board alight doesn't exist. So they have taken care about that bus design when they took this decision. So next question is, that's a pity, it will increase your ridership big time. What about the passenger per kilometer index? So yes, that will of course increase the ridership. So it is the recent decisions and the results are not out yet. So we don't know by how many number, like what are the ridership increases and what's the passenger per kilometer indexes of these after this decision has been taken. And next question is, how do passengers access the stations? Are there dedicated closed access lanes, or do passengers have to cross the street at grade? Yeah, so in case of Ahmedabad, most of the accesses are at grade, and it's always best thing to go for at grade and reduce the speed of motor vehicles if passengers are willing to cross the street. In case of PCMC in Pimpri Chinchwad and Pune also, 90% of the stations have at grade access. Intersections, so that the complexity of having different accesses near the intersection and different access for the station doesn't exist. So they have merged really well uh, pedestrian foot over bridges for crossing the street. In case of Ahmedabad, most of the accesses are at grade. In case of Indore also, most of the station accesses are at grade. Last question is, can this presentation be seen later for my students? So I think Nicholas is the best person who will guide you how to use it, but yes, he has recorded it and he said that it is open for like sharing afterwards. So these were all questions. I think I have answered most of the questions.
Hi, it's Nicholas again. I don't see any another hand raised. So if anyone wants to ask something, this is your time. After the previous answers by Pranjali. So there is not. I would like to thank you again, Pranjali, and everyone who asked. I apologize for my previous mistake about the questions, and we will see you on the next month for BRT webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thanks a lot.